Hello and welcome to Who Dares Rolls. I am your host, Mike B. This is the Mumbo Jumbo for February the 12th, maybe. We alright? You okay? You're fine? Are you good? I'm good. The dog's fine. He was set upon by a small puppy in the woods earlier today. It was quite traumatic for him. He needed a hug, but he's alright. No puppies were harmed in this event. And Isaac managed to dislocate his elbow today, which was quite impressive work. How do you do that? Just apparently playing. Fun. So A&E we went. That was good. So that was that. All that sorted out. He's fine. Absolutely unfazed by it. Once it's fixed, sort of fine. Like nothing had happened. Children. What a fucking nightmare they are. But yeah, that's it. I hope you're all right. I hope everyone's fine. I hope anyone who's new here, welcome to the party, pal, you know. And those who are not new to the party, then, well, thanks for hanging around. Lovely. So we did a video last week on Legacies, the game that Ben, I think it's been shared around. I think Mr. Sutton, thank you for sharing it around. So it's extra views. Wonderful. We're going to look at it again. Ben is keen to play it again, and I want to give it another shot. And so we're going to look at that on a Sunday. He wants to sneak his toe in our Sunday gamage shenanigans. We will see if that comes to pass. But that's it, I think, for the minute. So I think let's have a quick glance at what I've been playing. So played, not a lot, a couple of things. We played some more Pandemic Legacy Season 0, so I think we're into the March, April time of that now. March, April. Yeah, we're in May, I think would be. We've played about 4 games of it. I'm not going to give a spoiler a lot, I'm not going to give much away. It is moving at I say it's not a clip, it's moving at a good pace. It seems to have learnt from Pandemic Legacy Season 2, which, whilst we enjoyed number 1, number 2 was kind of this overblown, just too much of the legacy, too much. Everything was just kind of upturned to 11. It was a little bit too much. And this feels like they've learned from that kind of a little bit less is more. There's some good stuff going on. If you're a fan of it, then you're going to love it. I mean, the Cold War theming is great. I like that. That's kind of working really well. It is kind of bringing in bits of story there, which is really well done. And you can see how things are evolving. And I already can see a few things that we've probably made significant issues for ourselves down the road. But yeah, and generally enjoying that, liking what it's doing. It's satisfying, it's fun. And it just feels a little bit more complex than base Pandemic. Has got just enough, bit more going on, a bit more strategy to it, just a bit more everything. And it's working well with the theme. Can't really say much more of that at the moment, so because you might not have played it and you might not want it ruined. So I won't do that at the moment. And then we dug into last night, literally the other night, it wasn't last night, I dragged Nemesis Lockdown to Friday Night Games. They'd been interested in it, so I thought it's worth getting to the table, give it a shot. I skimmed the rule book, played Nemesis a few times. It must admit, it took us a while to get moving because I hadn't played Nemesis for a while, and it took me a while to get my... You know, there's a lot of rules going on in Nemesis. It's simple once you're playing it, but actually that initial teach is quite a lot. There's a lot of moving parts, really, for what it is, but it kind of works eventually when you get rolling. So just really to touch on that, once we got going, it was fun. It did take us probably about 3 hours to play the game, and I think probably an hour of that was set up. And because there's a lot of stuff in that box, setting up, and I'd not even got all the cards out of the pack, so we're kind of shuffling decks and stuff and teaching again, which is always a challenge on Friday nights because, well, it is. And Rich was playing, so there was 5 of us playing, so it was a bit of a bigger load. But on the whole, brilliant, played very well. If you enjoy Nemesis, then it is more of the same. Is it a huge departure? No, I don't think it is. It feels a little bit like, actually, with Pandemic Legacy 0, that Lockdown is a kind of a slightly, incrementally rules heavier, more tweaked version of Nemesis. It's not really doing much else, really, to change what the previous game did. Just adding a few bits that kind of work quite nicely together. So the main additions to it is the main board, the first board you get in the game, and I've not looked at it's two-sided. One of them you can go outside into the Mars surface and do stuff. I've not played that yet. But the top side of it is 3 levels. So that's quite a new addition, is that you're on different floors. There's a power supply situation where the floors are powered and they've got power to them. Then you can use the lift potentially if it's running. But more importantly, it lights the areas and it gives you a couple of advantages. Number one, if you're shooting and pewing the aliens in lit conditions, then you roll these blue dice which give you more options, more chances of hitting them basically. Some of them give you options to burn a card to be able to do it, but it gives you more chance of a shot. If you're in dark, use the standard red dice that you did before. Plus, it seems that a lot of the game events, and especially the alien attacks, all get a buff and a bonus in the dark. If you're stuck in the dark, it's more riskier. You're more likely to come a cropper. So that's kind of cool. So you have to activate that, and that's a new thing to do. The escape pod is changed, tweaked a bit, where it's not like standard escape pods you're getting in these kind of almost like these post tube things that are shooting off every so often, and they're randomized at the start of the game as to when they're going to launch. So that's something a bit different. You can't do that. And the actual escape process in the game, you can either kind of go into hibernation, which is like a security vault you can go into at a certain point in the game, or you can attempt to escape it in a rover and get out that way. The other big addition to it is this thing called contingencies that, I'll be honest with you, when I set it all up, we'd actually missed putting the one. So the idea is you have a contingency, which is a hidden piece of information, is the essential game-ending victory conditions. It can be everyone who's gone into the hibernation chamber dies at the end, or it could be someone hasn't done this. Any player that hasn't done this will die, or any player that's done this will die. So there's that sort of thing. And it's hidden information. There's a bunch of these tokens, say 8 of them or whatever. You get 1 each for each player, and then the remainder go in the middle of the board in a room, an archive room. You can kind of look at them. So you've got a bit of information of what you've got. Everyone else has a bit of information of what ones they've got. You can potentially look at what's in the middle. So you can kind of glean as much as you can as to what that final end game one was. When I set the game up and put it up, I didn't actually put one of these bloody things on the board. So at the end, we just drew one randomly because no one had actually really looked at the ones in the middle. But it's definitely a tactic in there. It's kind of a last sort of sting, and I won because I'd done the stuff on the chip that got bought. So I've played Nemesis quite a lot. I enjoy Nemesis. This is very much more the same. I like the tweaks to it. I think I generally like the idea. I liked the idea of the nocturnal sort of pitch black Ian type aliens, although it just doesn't feel that they really kind of fully embrace that. It's a shame. It doesn't feel they really fully. It's not fully rounded. It's kind of, they're just mildly tweaked from the aliens in the first game. The miniatures, all right, but again, the aesthetics of them isn't great in my opinion. They could have been better. But I like the idea of these creatures in the dark, and that sounded like a cool thing. And it's there, and the darkness thing plays a part. It is, but I don't know. It just feels it's not quite as good as I would have liked to have been. But I will say this: it is, as I say, it feels like the more advanced version of Nemesis. Do you need both of them? At this point in time, after only one play of Lockdown, it feels that no, you don't. No, maybe we play more, we get more of a feel that way. Either one or the other would be fine. There's plenty in either of those boxes. Of the two, it feels a little bit like Lockdown is slightly more refined. There's a little bit of quality of life tweaks. There's like dials for the monster health, which is handy. The monster effects are kind of balanced out a bit better. I like some of the characters. The characters seem better. The base characters you can play in this one seem to have a little bit more, some cooler stuff going on. Just the free tier layout, it's kind of cool. So there's a lot of, I think, stuff that's in Lockdown which works, and a lot of it does, I think is good. And I think it's just a little step up, a little bit more rules heavy maybe than Nemesis. But I think in the long run it might get a bit more satisfying that way, a bit more game there, just a bit more thinking going on. Am I going to keep both? Don't know yet at the moment in time. Should we do some news? Yeah. Here is the news. There's not much news, but actually, speaking of Awakened Realms, the Ravensburger announced this week that they are investing, I think it's like €4 million into GameFound, which is Awakened Realms' own version of Kickstarter. It is a crowdfunding system, but mainly, well, it is totally focused on board games. Up to now, it's kind of been pushing those big plastic extravaganzas. We've had, obviously, Nemesis Lockdown via it. Or was it? Yeah, I think it was. Or was it the last Kickstarter? Huzzah! I'm trying to think now. But ISS Vanguard was one they put on there. Portal have been using it quite heavily with their stuff they've put out. So it's a lot of big bling stuff has been on there. So it will be interesting to see what the Ravensburger bring to the table to that, because I don't believe they've ever done any crowdfunding of their own. They've got a fairly big amount of stuff. They do quite a bit of stuff. That's really not helpful. Publish a lot of games and other stuff. They've got a broad remit of goodies. Are they going to push any titles onto there? I don't know. It's impossible. Let's think about that. Maybe see how that goes. Though I think in the back of my head now about the Jurassic World game that's coming out, the Legacy one. I have a feeling that was Ravensburger, so maybe that's going to be out on GameFound. Maybe that's what's happening. I think that. I may have invented or dreamt that, but that may be the case. But yeah, I don't know. It's at least, we'll see what happens. I mean, well done. They're good for GameFound, I guess, and Waking Realms are getting stuff. It'd be interesting to see if that raises their profile, if they're going to get maybe some smaller publishers coming on board as well, because at the moment, the gem of Kickstarter is you're still getting those little independent, smaller projects on there, whereas GameFound seems to be these bigger, bloated kind of more projects. So we'll see what that does. We'll see, I guess. Just a quick thing, hidden gems, something you should be looking at. It's Meeple War. I mentioned this ages ago, I think in one of my lists, which was like a top 10 list of unvarnished gems, I will say, lost treasures, stuff that maybe people missed out on. So Meeple War is kind of slowly disappearing from our shelves. It was been readily available for a while. It's usually you can pick it up quite reasonably. It is starting to sell out, and I don't think there's any more of it coming. It's about 6 years old now anyway. Really great little game. It's like a real-time strategy board game, and it works as that kind of real-time strategy feel. And you've got buildings you build, and they kind of count down and generate stuff. And it is a fantastic board game representation of things like Red Alert or the June sort of RTS games, that sort of stuff. It feels very much like that. It's a real shame that this didn't get a bigger buzz on release. I think it came out. I think it was by Blue, what does it say on here? Blue Cocker. And I think they originally published it separately, and then Simon picked it up and picked it out. But it never really went anywhere. And it's just a shame, because it's a cracking little 4-player game. Got some really cool little mechanisms in it. Really works really well. Plays quite quickly. And it's fun. And really gives you that RTS vibe. And it could have really done, if it had a couple of expansions, some other stuff to it, could have really been something really cool. So whether we'll see this ever re-implemented or come back in another type, I don't know, but it's a cracking little game. And as it's disappearing from those shelves up there at the moment, there's still stock available of it. I think it's still just out there. It's one I'd say you don't really want to miss out on if any of that feels good. It's something worth grabbing, and I can imagine you can pick it up at a reasonable price. So if you get a chance, you come across it, pick it up. If you're a fan of the RTS style games, and there's a group of 4 of you can play it together, it's a good game. Pick it up. Just saying. Excellent. And that's it, really. I watched the Book of Boba Fett, the finale of that. Spoilers coming if you're in any way interested. So, yeah, Book of Boba Fett, final episode came out the other day. So I've kind of had a bit of issues with Book of Boba Fett. I was all right digging it initially. Then we had the whole 2 episodes, 5 and 6, I think they were, with this Mando-centric episodes. And they were very good episodes. 5 especially was very good. A lot of fan service, but generally well directed and fantastic. And they kind of stood out glaringly so much better than what had come before, in my opinion. And then we had the final one of this card, which kind of wrapped everything up into just a 45-minute gunfight that went on a bit, and that was kind of it. Yeah, I was kind of left a bit like, yeah, with it. I kind of would have. It felt like there was a lot of stuff that could have been better done. Boba Fett and Mando, kind of pretty hardcore up to this point, and they showed no tactical skill or ability, and just kind of got shot at a lot. The Wookiee character, which you think, oh, a Wookiee, the mad Chris someone. Chris Kringle, the Wookiee. He was a bit, again, he should have been more doing Wookiee shit, like really kicking people's asses, and there was moments where he didn't. He was overpowered by some thugs and stuff. It's just a lot of stuff you feel could have been better. A couple of Easter eggy bits in there. Then the Rancor riding appearance appeared, and that I'm sure was a crowd-pleasing moment for some people. Like some of the King Kong vibes they gave and Godzilla vibes they did with it, but yeah, again, even that was a bit. I just found it was just like 45 minutes of just like constantly shooting stuff. When you've got robots with shields, why you keep shooting it? It's clearly not working. So yeah, it was just a bit. Especially coming off the back of, again, those 2 episodes that were stonkingly good. This kind of was a bit of a moment. It was fine, but generally, other than the real at the start of the episode when there was a certain vehicle, a spacecraft appeared on the scene, everyone went, oh, and then they didn't quite pay that off, which was a bit, moment. Yeah, I don't know. The biker gang, the mod gang, still just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't. It's aesthetically just jarring for me. I can take it. I get this mods in Star Wars. Luke's got a robot and Darth Vader's a mod character. I get all of that. These modded sort of cyberpunky things, but I don't know why. It just, especially in the Tatooine environment, just doesn't quite work. It's just a bit glaring. And Rodriguez directed, and I'm a big fan of Rodriguez, but again, all felt a little bit pedestrian, felt a little bit meh. So there you go. There's my thought. But Obi-Wan Kenobi's coming. TV, I think it's a couple of months' time. I am certainly on board for that. And I've just been catching up on the last season of Rebels because I'd not watched it actually. So I thought I'd dig into that and watch that because there's a lot of crossover now between Rebels and some of the Mando stuff, and Filoni's on board, and deep cuts stuff going on. If that's your thing. That's about it. I'm just finishing reading Ready Player 2, which is I'm bored now. I'm actually flicking through pages of it, just skimming, just to get to the end, because I'm just like, ugh. And that's it. I'm going to watch some stuff, I think I should do that soon. And I'll let you know what I do. I should play some stuff soon, and I'll also let you know how that goes. But this is short and sweet. See, it wasn't that good because we've had some long ones, so this is short and sweet. There is some vids I've still got to finish editing, which I'll drop out soon. Charlie, one from Charlie as well. I think an RPG one I've got to do, which I will do soon. And this, which will be soon. Thank you for everyone who's liked, shared, and subscribed and signed in. Thanks for joining us as always. I hope that you've garnered some level of interest for this. I feel like I'm not sure I've really been. I don't know. It just feels amiss something. But yeah, there we go. Anyway, have a great week. I will be back in some capacity at some point. Until then, behave yourselves, or don't. I don't care, really. Do what the fuck you like. Enjoy stuff and things. And I'll be back soon with clearly more of the same, which is either a blessing or a curse, depending on your opinion. See you soon. Stay well. Stay safe. And stuff like that. Bye.